I'm going to go over Soxl. Two traders have questions regarding this ticker, but first I'm going to give you price action for Tuesday. We ended the day at $10.47, up 2.35%. To the north side from where we are takes us to 2 standard deviations and 1 level of resistance and a potential take profit area at 1231. Above that, at another level of resistance and also a potential sell area, 1329. And should we be so lucky as to get to 4 standard deviations, that would be roughly $14.24. Do not hold your breath for price to get to this level on Tuesday. At some other point, yes. But if we do get to this level, I will anticipate a pullback as people take their profits and they run. They will lock in and they will leave. Now, to the south side, basically where we are at, just a hair below, is the middle of the trend, and that is at 1042. Yeah, 1040, yeah, roughly around there, 42, 43. So we could go sideways, or we could gradually go up following this green line. We are in a slight upward channel on the 5, right? And to the south side takes us to -2 standard deviations, 851. 1 level of support and a potential buy-in area and a potential stop-loss area. It depends on what side of the line you bought. Below that takes us to roughly 757 and 662. I do not anticipate that we get to this level, but if we do, you can bet people will buy in. Now, looking left, you can see we clearly touched this level. That is a support line. It hit it, we hit it, and then it started to bounce, went sideways, and then went up again. And this gap closed, a clear sell signal. This is your sell signal, sell signal, sell signal, your buy signal, your buy signal, your buy signal. These are outliers. But all day long price stays within -2 and 2 standard deviations, and the calculations constantly change. So keep that in mind. That's why I have to do this every single day, because you're going to get different price action. And then you're going to get different price action depends on what time frame you play. Are you playing the 1 minute, the 3, the 15, the 4 hour? So it will change. It is fluid. Now, to the north side takes us to this level right here, which is the beginning of a gap fill at $10.14. And that closes out at 1626. So fingers crossed, that is our next target. At least my next target for this gap to fill. And typically gaps do fill. Let me clean this up. I'm going to mark this out. 1626, close enough there at 28, but I'll be consistent. All right. So when I marked out, let's see, this gets a little messy. Okay, so when I marked out the middle of the trend last time, we were here, and that was 997 and 1042, 997 and 1042. That is an upward, like a upward return of a positive return of 4.49% just in one day. And that beats the bank all day long, every day. And you don't have to put your money in it that long to get that return. Of course, it's scary and you could lose your money, but that's the risk you take. And I'd rather put my money in the stock market than in a savings account that pays nothing. Thank you very much. All right. But obviously 4.49% is not as good as when Dr. Harry traded and got a return in one day in a couple of hours for what he considers a stress-free trade for a 29.5% return. Fantastic. So hopefully, Dr. Harry, you did well again today. Now, Randall says, what are your thoughts on SOXL this year? Well, as I mentioned previously, the 52-week low is $7.23. Can we get even lower? Yes, absolutely. But we've already started to bounce, to go up. Today's low was $9.97 and today's high was $11.16. So I think by the end of the year, if we get the tariff situation all straightened out and normal, we're back to normal with business, and I think that there is tons of upside potential. But when we were at $70, there was no way in heck I would say to you, buy in at 70. I do not buy in high to hope and pray that it goes higher. That doesn't happen for me. I don't trade that way. I'm conservative, and while I take risks, I'm not going to put all my money down and trade in that way. I'd rather spread my money out and then go for the kill. When there's blood in the water, I'm all about that. And for me, there's blood in the water. Now I am interested in this ticker. When everyone was trading it at the high, I was not interested whatsoever. And that's my style. And I've done very well doing it that way, because I feel like there are so many tickers out there that have been beaten up that are in, the top SPY, top couple hundred tickers within SPY, within Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, Triple Qs. I take all those big tickers, the ETFs, and then I break it down, and then I go trolling is one way to do it. But obviously, if you buy low, sell high, and whenever you can, dollar cost average in the long run, you do better. So my thoughts, at this price, sticking around here, I love it. Getting into the higher price range, I'll just go buy something else. But there's a lot of potential here because there's a lot of fear with this. Let's take a look at this on the daily. And trader Lalit, I hope I'm saying that right, is in this trade, and he bought in at an average of roughly $35 and says, would it ever go back there? And if so, what's the probable time frame? The only problem is I can't give you a time frame because I do this on the daily and I can track it on the daily, but on the 5-minute I can track it. But TradingView does not let me go out. Let me just show you really quickly. It only goes as far out as a week, and that's the time frame I trade in and I look at it. On the daily, I can't use the same metrics that I use on the daily, because I haven't taught myself to read it that way, basically. I don't even know if you can. But on the daily time frame, we are going down. And let me show you. And I love this on the daily time frame because look, we went down here. I just use RSI as support and resistance. At 30 and below, I'm trolling. At 70 and above, you better start thinking about selling off if you're not buying and holding and letting it ride. But the different time frames, this is the weekly now, are going to give you different buy and sell signals. So on the weekly, we've already hit that 30 and below, and then now we're just going sideways. But on the weekly, the lowest, we just hit the lowest we've hit on the weekly right there on Monday, March 31st. Now on the monthly, which is where I like to buy and troll for long-term investments, and what I like to do is I mark this out. That's the highest we've been, just so that way I have a visual cue. At a quick glance, I know, like at 70, this is the first area that you should look at. Sometimes we never hit it, but then sometimes we hit it and then surpass it, and then you can always expect it to fall again. Do not ever think that the RSI is just going to climb. No, it doesn't happen. And take Palantir, for example. It got slammed down so hard, but now it's clawing its way back again. And I've been in Palantir since the, $10 range. I got to go look again. But anyway, so SOXL on the monthly The RSI, let me move this out of the way for a second. Still going down. So we have not hit the bottom yet with Soxl because this has not reversed course. Use your MACD, your RSI to kind of help you gauge. But this is still going down. So there's still more bleeding to do. But fortunately on the weekly and on the daily, it's picking up. Just the monthly is lagging. Okay, so that's RSI. But let's go to the daily here. So on the daily, we are at 1047 right here. All right, to the south side could take us to 584. 584. And we are, again, going down still. The channel itself is going down. But I'm going to show you something else later that you can change the margins here. But this is going up, but the channel is still going down. And to the north side, I mean, this is big in the big picture, okay? Here we are. That's hard to see. All right, so the window to the north side going long is 2162. Okay, and Lalit wants to know if it's going to go to 35. And look, like it is so far away at this moment. But there are some great things happening. There's a gap fill that will, see, I thought that it touched here, but when I looked at this on the 5 and stretched it out, it did not touch. So this gap is still in play to, well, this is a little off now, to about 32.68. Let me just move this. 32, you know what I'm going to do? I marked it out at this point, but let's just take it over here. Oh, well, it does line up with 32.67. Weird. Huh. Okay. 32.67. Oh, that's because I'm doing this on a different time frame too. I think it gets wonky. Things get wonky when I go between time frames. All right, so this gap will take us to $35. All right, this gap, and that one already closed, but we have another one. When you look at this in the big picture, look at this. I've got one here that I will be tracking to $50. See, I don't trust this because if we touch this line, if the stars align, that shows May 19th, 2025. I don't think so. That's why I don't like to do this and give these targets on the daily, because things can happen and you get slammed down and it just doesn't pan out. That's why I like to do it on the 5 minute, 1 minute if you're, day trading. So this is big picture. You got to be loose with this. And the reason this may not hold up is because we're moving farther away from this area because we're still going down. That's why when I say it's hard to predict, I can't look at it on the daily and say that, but I can on the 5 minute all day long. All right, what else? Oh, there was a 50. Okay, and then in the big picture, so don't despair, we will get back to 65.21. Oh, and I tracked this back on July 11th for Mari. And we hit here and then we started tanking. What goes up must go down. What goes down doesn't necessarily get back up again, but sometimes you have to get down to get up. And that's sort of what I feel about this area that we are in. Can it get into the 5s? Yes, because I just saw that on the time frame when I looked at it. Okay. We have been whipped around all over the place with this one. But another thing, Lalit, that you may consider is when I'm down on something and I don't set a stop loss, because I'm horrible at doing that, What I like to do is claw my way back and look at little opportunities. What does the market, what is it saying to us? What can we do? Well, we are here, and the next target, we're not in that channel yet, because again, I just played -2 and 2 standard deviations, -2 and 2, and 1047, okay, is right here. And this one could, oh, by the way, I marked this out on the daily, and now I erased something. Let me do one thing. I know this is like, today is Monday. I marked this out earlier and I deleted it. Okay, so the start of Monday was here. All right, and where's my line? Right here. Tuesday, I marked out, let's see, the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. Oh, right here, 17th. Because Friday we don't have a trading day. It's closed. The market's closed because of Easter. There. All right, so from this period to this period, you're still in an upward channel. And for this week, well, when could 1410 hit conservatively? If we continue to go up the middle of the trend, we could touch it here. Oh, see, and that date, see, and TradingView doesn't give me the dates. Then I got to flip this over, and I don't know if it lines up. Let me see. Oh, see, I don't like to go between. It just gets messy. Yeah, see, it's not even going to line up because this is going down. So I have to keep my time frames consistent. And I consider myself more of an expert on the 5-minute time frame and trolling on the 5. Oops. Command Z, I don't know what the heck I just did. Okay, Command Z to redo anything that you didn't mean to do. Okay, so let me go back to this. I know I've probably lost everyone. I don't make any sense. But let's, like, here's a touch point, and I can't even get a date, but here, so this week, the week of Monday the 21st to Friday, this thing could touch the upper band. All right, so I would be shooting for this, and then if you're trying to claw your way back, set your a tight stop loss on the way down in case we wick down and then we go back up. All right, I think I've said enough about this ticker, and I'm going to do one other one very quickly, only because I bought in today for Sndl. I bought in at $1.30 by the end of the day. Well, we did run up to $1.38. I got busy, so what I did is I saw this. I had 2 opportunities, and I tried to buy. I saw it here, and then I kind of set it at $1.29 when we were at $1.30, and it never hit. So then I got, okay, well, I didn't hit. So then I reset my market order, or not my limit order at 130. And then next thing I know, I left for the day and we went up and then got slammed back down. So the order hit. And 138, let me see, 130 to 138. Wow, that's good. That is a 6% return in one day. If you're kind of being conservative, this is resistance, a clear line of resistance, and that is a selling area. Okay, so that's one area you can hop off the gravy train. And then the next resistance is here. But obviously, turn on your Bollinger Bands, draw your trend lines. I don't do that. I just draw my horizontal line and I'm done. I don't get all fancy. I don't look at candles. I like to consider the wicks, because the wicks will get you in and get you out and ride it up or take it way down. And that's what I play. I don't look at dojis. I mean, I kind of look at them when someone points it out, but that's it. All right, I digress. That's enough talking about candlesticks. Okay, so price targets. Let's give you price targets, because I'm going to set a sell order. If we get it, great. If we don't, I don't care. All right, $1.33, $1.35, $1.41. Don't hold your breath. $1.45 and $1.48. I do have some shares at $1.49 that I bought in that I could have sold out a long time ago. I sold out of the shares I have at $1.35 and $1.37 from a long time ago. The resistance, sell off. Oh, and this gap at $1.41 is the next target. Well, a big target that I drew out. This is so gappy, and I don't mark it out. It just takes too long to do it. That closed. This one closed to the upside. This one is still in play because we got slammed down by the tariffs, by the tariff talk. But by the way, I'm still waiting for the Epstein list to be presented to the world, and I cannot believe Pam Bondi still has a job. Seriously. I had high hopes for her, but she is just like every other politician. Prove me wrong. All right. $1.67, that is no longer in play. Delete. This is no longer in play. That took us down to $1.75, the move I anticipated. Here, $1. I mean, it's been forever since I cleaned up this ticker. Delete. And then another gap opened here. This took us down here to $1.82. This one took us up to $1.88. Lalit, see what I mean by just looking at where the gaps are? The gaps, I call them opportunity gaps. Opportunities to go to the upside and opportunity to go to the downside if you like to go short, because you will always have a downside, potential. It just doesn't always just go up. And I'm going to show you this in the daily. This is a scary ticker to trade, okay? So I would not advise getting into this. This has taken a beating, and I am clawing my way back. All right. So in the past, I made a 5% return here, a 40% return here, a 20% return here, and what was this? I tracked this in 2022. It was at 227. All right, that's enough. Oh, in December 2021, this was at 58 cents. I remember this was like a meme stock too, and everybody was piling in, but they didn't tell you when they were getting out. So I know better now, and that is why I have taught myself to trade in a style that makes sense to me. And I know this does not make sense to a lot of people. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to tell you is if you've stayed with me. Now, this is called the linear regression indicator that I have on, that you see right here. You can change, they call this the length, okay, the length to whatever target you want. I have the length in a very wide spread. It's very wide because I want to play looser. So if you want a tighter spread to be more conservative, let me show you my drop down. You change this spread to 100. I'm not going to do it because this video is going on and on and on. I have 2, 3, and 4 standard deviations, but I'm going to tell you this. Don't waste your money buying indicators. You just get the free one if you don't know what you're doing, and only put on 2 and -2 standard deviations. That will save you, because that is an outlier beyond obviously the 2, and it may never hit, or it could take forever to hit. So if you're just trying to do quick action, Keep it to -2, 2 standard deviations. Turn on your bots, your buy and sell bots that help you decide, should I get in, should I get out? I really don't use them for trading, but sometimes I turn it on just to see what does the bot say, because the bot though will make you make way more trades, and I don't trade that way. Okay, and that does it for me. I know this was long, and I do need to do Starbucks and Summit for my dad, who wants to get back in for Summit. Okay, but that's it. That's a look at Soxl and Sndl. Have a great trading day.